UFC Shanghai. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'll be live for the entire card Saturday, 3 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're on the East Coast, early in the morning. If you're on the West Coast stateside, it's late at night towards the next day. I guess technically still early in the morning. If you're somewhere else in the world, maybe it's prime time for you. Come join me. I'll be live for the whole thing. And I'm excited to talk about my predictions. So let's get into fight number one. We got the light heavyweights going after it. We got Dr. Nurgozhay versus Uran Satybaldiev. Kind of battle of busted prospects in essence here, but I'm going with the side of Uran Satybaldiev because, yeah, he lost his debut. It was up in weight on very short notice against Martin Buday, and he still had a gutsy effort. I mean, all Buday really did was smother him up against the cage. He did land some shots. I'm kind of hating on Martin Buday. I'm not trying to make this the Buday bash, but Buday used his weight advantage, pressed Satybaldiev back. Satybaldiev's not a heavyweight. He's a light heavyweight. Now he's at his proper weight class. Dr. Nurgozhay, on the other hand, though, my God, one of the worst UFC debuts from like a non, ex Bellator PFL fighter, because they be selling left and right. But for a prospect on the come up that came from Contender Series, my God, Nurgozhay comes in at 210, looking fluffy and fat on the scale, and he got destroyed by Brennison Ibero, dropped in the first round, and then locked in a Kimura. Nurgozhay, on the tape, when you watch it early, you see him running through people. He's buzzsawing opponents. But looking at it now, you realize he didn't really have to deal with resistance. I mean, it was just like shit cans galore. Uran Satybaldiev has had some fights where he's had to come back and he's more battle tested. And he fought hard in a 3-rounder with Martin Buday. I feel like I favor towards the side of that, right? Him digging deep against Martin Buday. Even in a loss, he's trying until the very end. When shit went sideways for Nurgozhay, he bailed out. Now, to be fair, he came in at 205 and a half, or excuse me, 210 and a half. I wish it was 205 and a half. We can speculate some things. He missed weight. Why? Could be a health issue. Never got an actual like exclusive word on what happened with Nurgozhay's weight cut. He had a terrible UFC debut where he was destroyed on the feet and then submitted by Brennison Ibero. Now, Nurgozhay does have some wrestling. The problem is, though, on the other side, Satybaldiev has a good submission game. Satybaldiev's a relatively good defensive and offensive grappler. I mean, I know you see only one sub win, but he's got a Kimura recently, fought good against Bruno Aziz, who's got a nasty sub game, and it went late into the fight. His stand-up is nicer. Like, it's the long-distance strike. 79-inch reach to 74. Nurgozhay, like, if he's buzzsawing you, it's easy for him to close that gap. He's able to do his thing. But Satybaldiev has pretty good strikes from long range. Nurgozhay, I will give credit where I see it. His high kicks are nasty. Got a nice knockout against Shefwick on the damn Contender Series with his high kick. Before that, he ran over Emiliano Sordi. But what does that mean now? Emiliano Sordi at one point fought at a decent level outside of the UFC, but he was way past his prime. I feel like Satybaldiev decision probably here. Nurgozhay could end up looking a lot better. He's got 6 KOs, 2 submissions, 2 decision, multitude of facets. But the reason I lean towards Satybaldiev is the size advantage, 6'4" to 6'2". He had a good showing in his debut against Martin Buday and lost. Not really that good of a showing. He still took a fat L to Buday, but put up some heart in that fight. Could Nurgozhay end up pulling off the upset? Maybe, but he's going to throw a high kick at the 6'4" Uran and knock him out. He's going to take him down and smother him on the mat and dominate. I don't know, man. I can't be sold on Nurgozhay after that debut until evidence tells me otherwise. I feel like Satybaldiev is decent enough to get a hard-fought win. But my God, talk about the downfall of hype for a Dr. Nurgozhay who was coming in red hot. And then the debut looked flat, man. And I won't lie to you guys and say I didn't consider picking Nurgozhay. But then I said I'm making purely a faith-based pick. Better debut was definitely Satybaldiev's. Looking at the odds, at open, it was plus 210 for Nurgozhay. At open, it was minus 250 for Satybaldiev. I lean towards a Satybaldiev fight going his way, hard fought back and forth. I'll favor a guy that has come back from the adversity recently and found ways to win, even though he lost his debut to Martin Buday. Buday did pretty good in the UFC, unfairly released because of his lack of entertainment value. Nurgozhay, I don't know, man. His feint game is okay. He's got that weird twitch that he's always doing. Like I said, his kicks are good, but I doubt he's getting a head kick KO. He's a southpaw, but he's at a big reach disadvantage. And I don't think he has a great ability to close distance against the taller Satybaldiev, who also is capable in all areas. So I'm going to go Satybaldiev to win. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a later stage TKO of the year or takes a decision home. I'm going to go with the Satybaldiev side to start the card off. I think he'll beat Nurgozhay. Pretty bad debut for Nurgozhay. I can't overlook that. Next fight, Long Xiao versus Su Young Yu. I'm going with Mr. Jiu-Jitsu himself, Su Young Yu, a.k.a. the Korean Habib. Su Young Yu is a better version of Long Xiao. Long Xiao, I mean, he has decent pressure. He's kind of strong on the inside. Has a bit of stiffness, though, to his striking. I don't know. He'll flurry some shots together, but, like, you can tell he's squeezing so hard and close, and he looks just, like, too stiff to have any, like, flow to his movement. Yeah, like I said, though, kind of strong, can wrestle a little bit, and definitely can use his strength and get some top control. I guess I have to give him more credit than that. He knocked out Kwang Lee. It was a nice exchange. He put him down and out, showed power there. And I liked Kwang Lee, but it's not like Kwang Lee is all that fucking good. Kwang Lee's all right. Chang Ho Lee split decision. Chang Ho Lee's all right. I feel like Yu Sang Yu is better than a Chang Ho Lee. And I think that the wrestling dominance here, positionally sound, top control, better scrambling ability, faster transitions on the ground. I feel like the fight just favors the Su Young Yu side. And when I think about the striking, I see Yu as a little more defensively polished and sound. And I'll say even technically a bit sharper, a little looser than Long Xiao on the feet. And then I think he could hit some key takedowns. Now, the factor that I don't love about this fight is if Long Xiao's takedown defense is holding up, he does have a 5-inch reach advantage that could give you trouble, even though I don't think Long Xiao uses reach all that well. He's more of a guy that wants to collide with you on the inside and uses physicality. I'll favor the physicality in the wrestling game of Su Young Yu. But, it's one of those calls where it's, a young prospect. I wasn't completely sold on Su Young Yu, but he beat an AJ Cunningham pretty badly. But AJ Cunningham, no diss on the Savage. He's a tough customer. Oh, my God. And then fight before that, I mean, he dominated Bargain Jelly Yizha pretty well on the ground. I think he's going to be too good of a wrestler grappler for Long Xiao, and I think Xiao will put himself out of position, get taken down. He might scramble back up to his feet, and it might end up being like a relatively competitive fight at times. But I think Su Young Yu can get more control time throughout, end up in top position more often, and I'll say he does enough to take it home on the cards. I'm not blown away. I'm not on he's the next Korean Habib, because that's the hype on him, the Korean Habib. I will say, though, in this matchup, I do think he's got the wrestling edge pretty clearly, and I think that he beats Long Xiao by decision here. I think he ends up winning the grappling exchanges for the most part in this fight. Su Young Yu, -130, close money line. At open, he was -170, so some love on the Long Xiao side. Xiao +145. I don't really see it, man. I don't really see it. Over 2.5, -300. I'm anticipating this fight going all rounds. And I think it's Su Young Yu grinding out a win. Time some takedowns well. Long Xiao's going to look to barrage him with some shots at times. I think Yu gets under him and then gets him to the mat. And I think Yu from top position is going to have pretty good control. I could see a reversal hit from Long Xiao. I don't think it's going to be Duplessis Hamzat type dominance from Yu. That's really where I'm going with this. But I do think winning the wrestling exchanges, having some moments on the ground, and doing enough to win the rounds. I'll say he'll take probably, I might see 30-27s, but I wouldn't be shocked with a round going to Long Xiao. Maybe in the later stage, he throws some big body kicks and rips some overhands and steals the third or something like that. But I'll favor the side of Su Young Yu to do enough. And with the clear-cut wrestling advantage, I'm going to call that the key difference maker between the two. And I'm going to pick Yu to get it done. Let's keep running up the prelims. Next fight on the prelims, we got Yizha versus Westin Wilson. I am going with Yizha. My God, man. Some underwhelming fights on this card. feel like we got apex fight after apex fight after apex fight to start Shanghai off. It's going to be 3 in the fucking morning. I hope that these guys deliver with some entertainment because I am going to be getting my ass up extremely early. I'll be up at 2:30 a.m. I got to go to bed early the night before. Hard to do for me, but I'll pull it off just for this card. I hope that we get some violence. Now, with this fight, I think Yizha is definitely going to be able to buzzsaw through Westin Wilson. Wilson does have the height and reach, though. 6'1". He's going to have a 6-inch height advantage over Yizha, and he's also going to have only a 2-inch reach advantage, but he uses his legs kind of well. He's a journeyman, though. He's 1-2 in the UFC. He got the sub over Jekka Saragi, but Jekka Saragi's pretty bad, man. In fight before that, Gene Silva destroyed him. Joanderson Brito destroyed him. To be fair, though, hasn't fought in a year and 2 months, which I don't really like for him, especially coming off of an, kind of impressive win. And now he's fighting a strong grappler in Yizha, who's really fucking durable. I mean, Gabriel Santos beat his ass, but Yizha survived the storm. I gained respect for Yizha. I thought Santos was definitely going to knock him out, and Santos dropped hammers on him. Still, Yizha sat in the fight and survived. I'm going to respect him to win. I'm going to say the Chinese fighter gets the win in Shanghai. Road to UFC winner, positionally sound in the grappling, better wrestler for sure. I think he's taking down Westin Wilson and getting some control time here. I think it's submission or decision. He's got 14 sub wins as a pro. And then on the other side, Westin Wilson has been submitted 4 times, but he also has 12 submission wins. So like Westin Wilson with his deceptive length and his freakishly long legs and shit for 145, he has a tricky bottom game, but I don't think he's pulling off some type of fluke submission. I think Yizha wins. He might break Wilson. To be honest, I lean towards Yizha stopping him. I think rear naked choke, maybe a bit of ground and pound into the choke. Like Wilson could have a couple moments early that make people sweat because of his weird distance striking, his ability to kick from range. He's got the karate base, He's a Wonderboy Thompson protege. I say he's the little brother of Wonderboy, the special little brother. He's great value Wonderboy at 145. I don't think he's got the skills to deal with a Yizha, but could survive past 5 minutes. And I think Yizha probably wears him down with takedowns, beats him up a bit with ground and pound. And I think Yizha is probably going to take his back and end up strangling him here. It's so stupid, though. Minus 1,300 odds. I don't think Yizha should be this big of a favorite. I opened up at minus 1,400. I was thinking, looking at this fight, just no odds. I was like, all right, I think Yizha probably going to be like a minus 350, minus 300. I was like, oh, shit, maybe he's a parlay piece because he's in shape and like really durable. And he's got, a good ground game. So I doubt he's getting submitted by Westin Wilson like Saragi did with a triangle. But instead, they tell you, hey, go fuck yourself, man. You might as well just stay away from this one. I mean, you're going to have to really leg it up in the parlays to get anything worth your time. Wilson at plus 775. Is there an under 2.5? Nah, it's going to be under 1.5. Watch. Under 1.5. I didn't even know. Minus 170. I lean yes, but it's not like Yizha has just finished everybody. I mean, he's got subs here. Let's look at his method of victory when. When does it happen? Round 1 sub, round 1 sub, split decision, round 1 sub. I lean under 1.5 for Yizha, finding the neck of Wilson, but he does got a good armbar game, and Wilson's got long, skinny arms, and I could see Yizha torquing that shit. I'll say yes to under 1.5, but I would definitely prefer an under 2.5. I think Yizha has the submission game to get a finish at some point, but he might have to wear Westin Wilson down a bit more, It's like they're acting like Wilson is just a fucking sitting carcass that's just going to lay there and tap out. He's going to try to throw strikes back, and he's going to try to throw submissions up from bottom, and he might even try to threaten with a ghillie as Yizha shoots on him, especially with that big height advantage. But I think we're going to see Yizha buzz through him. Younger by 8 years, more experience as a pro too. Westin Wilson's a certified journeyman. Tough dude, Wonderboy prospect, and his knockout losses are against Brito and Gene Silva. I mean, the Gene Silva one, extremely forgivable. And a loss to Brito it's fine. I mean, Brito's decent. He's a big power hitter. He's a strong Brazilian savage. But I think Yizha's grappling carries in this fight. I don't think Wilson pulls off a fluke comeback submission, which would probably be the only way to win, it seems like, for him. And I think Yizha, too, punch-wise, could have more power. But I think he goes to the well with grappling, and I think he wears on Westin Wilson and probably chokes him out. But armbar is what he likes, so maybe he's going to shoot for an armbar after he has the back of Wilson. So I'll go Yizha submission in this fight. I think he should cut through Wilson pretty easily. Next fight on the card, we got Michel Pereira versus short notice replacement Kyle Daukaus. This was supposed to be Michel Pereira versus Marco Tulio, which was a fight that had me hyped as hell because Tulio, definitely a middleweight prospect on the rise right now from Shoot the Box Diego Lima. Instead, we got ex-UFC fighter Kyle Daukaus making his way back. I'm going with Michel Pereira. I think that explosive power is a big difference maker here. I mean, the way Daukaus finished out his UFC career, it was back-to-back KOLs. He got knocked out by Eric Anders and Roman Dolidze. I think that Daukaus's grappling is sound, though. I'll give credit where it's due. He's got a good jiu-jitsu game. His wrestling's not too shabby either. His striking isn't awful, and, you know, he can box a bit. His brother was honestly the better boxer of the two, but then ran into some fucking heavy-handed savages in the UFC and then went completely obscure after going full-time fighter. I think Kyle Daukaus is going to look to grapple Pereira, but Pereira's grappling defense is decent enough. It took 5 rounds for Hernandez to get the finish on Michel Pereira, and Pereira looked like he was gassed after 2 minutes in the fight. So my thought pattern here is like, okay, if he can go long with a Hernandez on the ground, I don't think Daukaus is going to be taking his back and strangle him. I think Pereira can look better. I feel like he'll be confident and, you know, taking on the short notice Kyle Daukaus. I think he should be able to buzzsaw through him for a first round knockout. Probably one of the typical Michel Pereira explosive performances. Like, let's be real, man. Pereira loves to fight people that he has crazy advantages over. When it's a dog fight, Pereira sells. I mean, even with Abus Magomedov, he looked terrible last fight. So there's a red flag around them, but still, you know, survived to the final bell against Abus. Both guys honestly looked sloppy and slow on the feet late in that fight. That was pretty bad. Early in the fight, Michel Pereira's explosiveness is a big factor. I think Kyle Daukaus is a bit flawed on the feet. Chinny, maybe. Yeah, chinny a bit, to be honest with you. Boxing is okay, but he's going to look to wrestle, but he's pretty skinny, man. I don't think he's going to have the physicality to body Michel Pereira in grappling positions. I think he's getting knocked out in the first round. He fought hard to get back, though. Like, I'll give credit here. Kyle Daukaus on a 4-fight win streak. Beat a 7-7 fighter, an 8-4 fighter, a 17-8 fighter, and then a 5-1 prospect. So, you know, you got to give him respect for it, too. And, I mean, he's winning 3 of those 4 by finish, which I think is impressive. But I don't think Kyle Daukaus can deal with an explosive power hitter like Michel Pereira, who's just way too dynamic in striking. He's got dangerous kicks to the body, dangerous punches up high, and his grappling skills. It's easy to shit on him, but he's sound at jiu-jitsu. He's not bad. I mean, if you're Anthony Hernandez, you're going to run him over, but that's a different level, you know? Anthony Hernandez is the dark horse of middleweight. I'm not going to flack Michel Pereira too hard for that one. And even Abus Magomedov. Abus is very technically sound, and he's well-rounded. Kyle Daukaus, you know, bit of the grappling specialist who has okay boxing. I don't think it carries weight here. I think Michel Pereira is going to end up getting a violent knockout. I'm going to go with the Pereira side. He's minus 275 is the favorite. It opened up at minus 225, so it's gotten a little bit wider. It makes sense that Pereira would win, and it's high likelihood inside of the distance. Daukaus at plus 235. Obviously, we don't have all the props, but we have an under 2.5 rounds. You tell me under 2.5 is minus 110 here? Under 1.5 is plus 150? The way Pereira fights is just chaotic aggressiveness and explosiveness, and he's got a big edge and explosive ability over Kyle Daukaus, who's a lot more slow twitch. As long as he's not getting taken down early and grinded on from top position, I feel like Pereira is going to get a quick KO. So I do think under 2.5 hits. I also think under 1.5 is live as well. Daukaus coming in on short notice, but he was scheduled to fight this month. So it's like a short notice fight, but he was in a proper camp getting prepared. So, you know, could give him the gas tank to survive the onslaught. But I just don't think he's got the durability to survive, man. Back-to-back knockout losses in the most recent UFC run. Before that, though, to be fair, he was surviving long. And his sub game is good. 11 submission wins. Kyle Daukaus, it's good to have him back. I'm happy for him. You know, 2022 is the last time we've seen him. But I just don't think he beats Michel Pereira. I think Michel Pereira is way too powerful. And Pereira is the younger guy. Kind of crazy, right? Because Pereira, he looks like a 40-year-old, but somehow still only 31 years of age. I'm going to go with Pereira. I'm going to go with first round knockout. I think the explosiveness is a difference maker. And this is one of those matchups where he can really shine, where Daukaus has some vulnerabilities striking wise and, not the best chin ever. So I'm going to go with Pereira knockout. Let's keep moving up. Next fight on the card, we got Rongzhu versus Austin Hubbard. I'm going to pick Rongzhu in this one here. I sat on this one for a while. And I was, to be fair, trying to convince myself of the side of Austin Hubbard. But I don't know, man. The Yoda inside is telling me. Trust my instincts. Initial lean, I was like, okay, Rongzhu counter shots, Rongzhu boxing, Rongzhu leg kicks. Rongzhu's striking, even if you go back and rewatch that Taco Padilla fight, watch the first round. On the feet, Rongzhu is looking faster than ever before. He's looking sharper with his kicks than ever before. Rongzhu can strike really well, and he's coming off a big win and an upset, which I predicted against Cody Steele. And he looked sensational on the feet in that fight against a game up and comer in Steele who was undefeated and had a lot of upside. Now he's fighting somebody in like a complete opposite position. And Austin Hubbard, who's an Ultimate Fighter finalist and, been in the UFC for now a second run. A long time ago, actually, he beat Max Roshkoff and made him break when Roshkoff was supposed to have crazy potential. I think Rongzhu is going to be better in the striking side. Nasty brawling style with a lot of volume, clean stand-up, and city kickboxing is where he's been training out of for a bit. And he did, some camps over there. And like you can see the influence. They've really sharpened up his game. And I feel like an in-shape, sharpened up Rongzhu, he's only 25. So I'm not going to judge him too harshly from the first UFC run. He came back. He won road to UFC. Yeah, Taco Padilla fucking shut his eye and then he got stopped. And then, the doctors came in, called that fight off. But next fight, beating Cody Steele's impressive. And then, Austin Hubbard's a gritty journeyman. He's got some wrestling in the back pocket, was able to wrestle Medeiros a bit and take his back and put him in bad spots in round 2. And then fight before that, competitive with Hernandez. But to be fair, Alexander Hernandez won probably every round. I don't think that was no split decision. Got a win against Figlock, who turned out to be a can. And then he got submitted by Kurt Hollow about 2 years ago. I don't think Hubbard's that much of a problem on the ground where I'm so terrified of if it hits the mat. I think Rongzhu's got good footwork. I think he's explosive with good takedown defense. And you can see the power that he has. I think he can make Hubbard pay with counters. And being 25 years of age with over 30 pro fights, I feel like Rongzhu, he's going to keep improving, man. He has a lot of room to grow. Yeah, he's got a ton of fights. A lot of these guys from Asia get shitloads of matches early in their career. But he's starting to really come into his prime now. And I feel like at 33, we know what Hubbard brings to the table. He's pretty good everywhere. His striking's okay, but he doesn't have a lot of power. His grappling's good, but he's not a submission ace. He's able to control position a bit, but not such a threatening guy. He's able to sit in there for 3 hard rounds, and you got to be in shape against a guy like Hubbard. I think Rongzhu is. I think Rongzhu's going to have a big striking advantage. I think Rongzhu's going to hit Hubbard with some big shots. I do think Hubbard's looking to wrestle. Definitely have to. But I'm assuming that Rongzhu lands some big counters, and I think that he's going to make Hubbard pay in this one. And I think Rongzhu's probably taking it home. I'm leaning towards a decision. Could end up getting a knockout, but Hubbard historically has been durable. Never knocked out as a pro. He has been submitted before, but the bread and butter of Rongzhu's game is more knockouts. Yeah, he's got 7 subs, but I mean, bro, when you got 26 fights, you're bound to get some submissions. He's not a submission specialist by any means. I'll favor Rongzhu stand up to carry weight and maybe even drops Hubbard at some point. Looking towards the odds, my God. Minus 280 for Rongzhu. Opened up at minus 300. Hubbard plus 240. I don't like these lines because Hubbard's last fight, like I'm telling you, man, he was close money with Markel Medeiros. Close money with Alexander Hernandez. Rongzhu last time is a plus 300 underdog against Cody Steele. He goes out and gets that win over a hot prospect. Now he's a huge favorite against Hubbard, which, isn't great. But picking the fight, just analysis side, throwing the odds out the window, I favor the side of Rongzhu's counter shots in the stand-up and his aggression on the feet. I think he's the faster striker, the cleaner leg kicks. I think he's got a big athleticism advantage. Over is likely at minus 240 with Hubbard historically being pretty durable. I'm going to say Rongzhu does take it home in a fun one. I think this is going to be a good fight, though. Hubbard doesn't quit easy. Definitely going to keep coming, but I think Rongzhu is going to do more damage throughout. And I'm going to pick the side of Rongzhu, training with City Kickboxing a bit, to end up carrying weight and taking this win home. So I'm going to go with him over Hubbard. Next fight on the card, we got Kavanagh versus Charles Johnson. Why is Kavanagh fighting somebody this good in his third UFC fight? Why? I think this is a mistake. I'm picking Charles Johnson to win. I go back and watch Kavanagh's past two. And I think to myself, yes, he's good, but let's not act like Ochoa didn't have him hurt with a body shot. Let's not act like Felipe was giving him no trouble on the feet, and his wrestling secured him that win. Okay, he showed versatility and a well-rounded ability. I didn't mean to rhyme that at all. But now he's fighting Charles Johnson, who what? His loss is against Ramazan Temirov, who just popped actually for PEDs. And the guy's just an absolute monster in the first two. Johnson still wins the third round. Knockout win over Joshua Van over a year ago. And now Joshua Van's fighting Pantoja for the belt. Like, Charles Johnson is one of the more top caliber and poised flyweights in the UFC. This is, I think, too much too soon. I know Kavanagh's a good prospect, but I don't see him knocking Charles Johnson out. Johnson's going to have the big height and reach advantage. How do I not pick Charles Johnson? His wrestling defense is solid. Now, I guess you could say, oh, well, sometimes Johnson starts slow and then he'll only win the third round. He'll lose 1 and 2, I guess. Yes, but he's still sharp in the first and second. Let's not act like he wasn't just on a win streak. And his loss against Temirov, when the way the fight finished out with the third round, I think there was positives to take away. Charles Johnson is smooth as hell in striking. Charles Johnson's kickboxing is really sound. He's a sharp, distant striker with good volume. He has very good lateral movement. He's got a good rhythm to his flow. He's got the big cage to work with. I like that a lot better for Charles Johnson. With the big cage, I think it gives him even more of an edge. You look at this one here against Temirov, he's forced into that little small octagon, and Temirov's able to back him up and press him, and then close that gap and cut off the cage. There's a lot of room now for Charles Johnson to strike. I know Kavanagh looks powerful and he's got solid abilities, but wins over Felipe Dos Santos, wins over Jose Ochoa. They tell me you're a good prospect, but I don't think at 26 he's ready for a true veteran like Charles Johnson, man. Charles Johnson, 6-5 in the UFC. Listen, one of the best 6-5 fighters in UFC history. 2 UFC fights as opposed to 11 UFC fights. The experience gap is wide. And I think that Charles Johnson is still getting better. I think Charles Johnson is still in his prime. I really think that he's going to outwork Kavanagh to a decision. Johnson's the prospect killer, bro. He beat Joshua Van, who's surging to the top right now. Can Kavanagh get through the test that Van couldn't, and a Van that's now fighting for the belt? I don't feel good about that, man. I really got to favor the side of Johnson's distance. Yes, Kavanagh is a dangerous kickboxer. He's got nice power in his hands. He's got very explosive movement, cuts off the cage well, big shots over the top, nasty low kicks, precise teeps up the center. Pretty much his overall Muay Thai game is very polished and has the wrestling in the back pocket, but not a Charles Johnson level. I think Charles Johnson versus Kavanagh will pose to be a little too much for Kavanagh, man. I'm going to predict that Charles Johnson wins this fight. I'm thinking Charles Johnson gets a decision. I think Kavanagh has some moments, and I think he gives like a real strong effort in this matchup, but I don't think he's beaten a guy of this caliber. Like, Charles Johnson is close to top 15. I'm surprised to see this matchup made, to be honest with you, man. And it's like easy to just go with the hype pick of Kavanagh, the undefeated prospect. But who's he fought that's Charles Johnson level? Who? Oh, well, Jose Ochoa is good. Jose's good. Am I sure that he beats Johnson? No. Is Felipe going to be? I don't think so. Jose Johnson's a solid kickboxer, man. It's not like he's one-dimensional either. His wrestling defense is good. He's got really good cardio. He can keep a pace for hard 3 rounds. To be honest, he's a 5-round fighter. Just unfortunately, you got to be in a main event for the UFC to give you a 5-round fight. I'm going with Charles Johnson to win, guys. I'm picking him by a decision. He's plus 170 as a dog. To me, opening odds are crazy. Plus 330 Johnson at open, minus 400 for Kavanagh. He's good, but is he this good? He's this good in a fight that I think is a lot closer to 50-50. But I got to say, if you told me percentages, I feel like I'm like 60%, 40% Charles Johnson. If you want specifics, I'm like, okay. Johnston's distance striking is good. He's got kickboxing skills. Yes, Kavanagh has the pedigree of the stand-up, but doesn't have the, UFC experience against all the guys that Johnson has fought. Comfortability in the octagon, ability to move well, reach and height advantage. I don't think Kavanagh's winning this one, man. And Charles Johnson, let's not act like he doesn't have some power, too. He put Joshua Van away. Over 2.5 minus 350. I lean towards yes. I'm going to pick Charles Johnson to give Lawner Kavanagh his first loss, man. I don't know with this matchup. I really question why they threw Kavanagh in this spot. Like, I get it. They believe in him, but there's so many other guys they could have matched him up with. Like, why doesn't he fight somebody like Ronaldo Rodriguez, Why doesn't he fight somebody that's, a little more on the average side versus Johnson, who I'd consider one of the good flyweights? I think this is a mistake, man. I think that Kavanagh's not ready for the spot. And I think you're going to see Charles Johnson strike well from range, stay moving, land some good shots on Kavanagh. I think Kavanagh has moments. I think he fails some takedowns. I think Johnson ends up scrambling and getting on top. I think you're going to see veteran lesson. I'm favoring UFC experience over everything. I'm going with Charles Johnson by a decision. I think he can beat Lawner Kavanagh here. I don't understand the matchmaking one bit. If you're really looking to push Kavanagh, why throw him Johnson now? That just seems like a mistake. But I'm not the UFC. They're putting him to the test right away. And I'm going with the Johnson side. Let's jump to the feature prelim. We got Mahashate Hayisaer versus Gage Young. I'm going to pick Gage Young. That was my initial instinct. But I will say Mahashate's distance kickboxing is pretty good. He's fast from the outside. He's got good body kicks. He's got a stiff jab, good right hand. But his defense in the pocket is shit. His defense in the pocket is so bad. Mahashate is not an inside fighter. And he's not a good wrestler. So he doesn't have like the option of, okay, you get close, he's going to tie up with you. He's just really a mid and long range kickboxer. And then when things get nitty gritty and close, he tends to get outworked. Gage Young, pretty good boxing chops. From the outside, he's getting clipped by Mahashate. But when he closes that gap and he gets into that puncher's range, when he gets into that red zone, his hands are fast. He throws good flurry and shots. He does have a relentless, like, pressure-based style, really. We're celebrating Gage Young for losses, though, which I don't like doing. He lost to Quillian Salkild, but he gave a good fight. He lost to Evan Elder, but he gave a good fight. Anything under, the UFC product banner, he's 0-2 if you include Contender Series. Now he fights against Mahashate, another 25-year-old, but a seasoned 25-year-old in the UFC. And let's be real, Mahashate, when he came into the UFC, you would have thought this guy was making a run. Quick knockout of Steve Garcia, burst on the scene. And then Huffa Garcia gives him a lesson. And Huffa Garcia is like 5'7", bro. And then he loses to Slava by knockout. And then he barely beats Gabriel Benitez. And a wash Gabriel Benitez, former featherweight Gabriel Benitez. And then last time, Nicholas Mota beat his ass. I get it, Mota hits hard. And he's got some power. But inside fighting, where Mahashate struggled, he got caught. And Gage Young, I feel like at the least he showed he's in shape for 3 hard, high-paced rounds. And he gave Evan Elder a good run for his money. I think Gage Young is a blue-chip prospect to watch. I don't know about him being the next champion. I'm not saying that. I don't think either one of these two reached that level in the UFC. But I do feel like I could see Gage Young hitting takedowns. I can see Gage Young winning exchanges in the pocket. And I could see Gage Young backing Mahashate up, making him uncomfortable and ripping him with shots. I'm going to go with Gage Young. I'm going with the American. Savage mode USA in this hole. I'm going with representing the USA over China in this one. I guess technically Kavanagh and Johnson too, but the difference is Kavanagh, he's British and he's Chinese. So, Mahashate, he repping China in this one big time. He's been a busted prospect for how long? Gage Young, yeah, he's lost, but he's lost good fights. We've seen Mahashate get his ass handed to him numerous times. I don't see it. I'm going with Gage Young. I think he lands some good overhands. I think he lands some good hooks on the inside. I think he makes Mahashate uncomfortable and forces him backwards. I think he can take him down. Yeah, I think Gage Young can win this thing. I don't think he's just sitting at range getting kickboxed up. I think he's going to look to push a pace. Minus 127 for Gage Young. He opened up at minus 150. Some Mahashate love. Plus 107 Mahashate. Picking the underdog here, here's why I have a hard time doing it. You say, but Mahashate got a chance. What's the upside of Mahashate? Even his win against Benitez, he didn't look good. He hasn't looked good since his debut. Picking a Charles Johnson, it's like he always wins third rounds. He's an absolute fucking dog. He beat Joshua Van. Like, Charles Johnson's a good underdog on this card. To me, Mahashate, he's flat, bro. Like, yeah, Gage Young coming off a loss too, but he steps in for a big fight against Evan Elder and puts up a tough performance. Over 2.5 minus 165. I mean, it's possible. It's possible to go over 2.5. Gage Young could get the stoppage, but I'm favoring a decision. I'll favor the upside and the prospect of Gage Young to put some pressure on Mahashate, to make him uncomfortable, to land shots on the inside. I just can't. I can't with Mahashate. I can't trust that he's going to land big straights and control range and be more technical. I think we have forced into a dogfight. And in a bit of a dogfight, I think Gage Young is landing a lot of punches, and I think he's outworking Mahashate. So I'm going with Gage Young to win. I'm going to lean towards unanimous decision for him. I see him beating Mahashate. Let's get to the next fight. It is the main card opener. If you guys are watching and enjoying, make sure you guys smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Taiyilki Nueraji. You heard that? Taiyilki Nueraji versus Kiefer Crosbie. I am going towards the side of the Super Saiyan, Taiyilki Nueraji, to win. I can't pick a Kiefer Crosbie at this point. He's had a terrible UFC career. I mean, to be honest with you, he didn't really even have a good Bellator career. 10-5 as a pro, has looked awful on the ground in UFC fights against Jusei, who ends up not even being good, and against Sam Patterson, more forgivable. But he's been out for a year, fighting essentially, once a year as of late. And even the fight against Alex Oliveira, he was getting caught, man. I was a Cowboy Oliveira outside the UFC and a washed Cowboy Oliveira. How can I pick Kiefer Crosbie? I mean, he can box a bit. He fought Aaron Chalmers in a boxing match and beat him. All right. His hands are okay. I mean, he rips big punches. He's a tough scrapper, closes the gap, throwing big bombs. He got that real journeyman style. He got that Irish journeyman style. He's going to close the gap with aggressiveness and look to throw bombs. But his grappling sucks. He's pretty mid. He's a fun brawler, though. Good guy to have on the roster for a chance of entertainment. I mean, his chin is normally pretty good. Never's been like flatline KO'd, but he's also very hittable. On the other side, Taiyilki, I can't even say his fucking name, Taiyilki Nueraji. He's got pretty dangerous stand-up skills from what I've seen. He's a southpaw who's a very clean puncher. He's got slick combinations. He's very explosive and creative. He's got nasty elbows on the inside. He's a fast starter that comes out with some ruthless aggression off rip. He's 6'2", gonna have a long reach advantage of 6 inches as well, 3 inches taller, 6-inch reach advantage in the fight. Kiefer Crosbie's probably getting stung with big shots. The thing about Nueraji, he only got 1 submission win. It was 2 fights ago, though, so he's finding his subs. Kiefer Crosbie's grappling is pretty bad, man. Kiefer Crosbie really just a boxer. I feel like even though Taiyilki Nueraji is known for the emphatic knockout and the crazy start, maybe in this one, he's going to end up locking up a sub on Crosbie because Crosbie's ground game is really bad. I don't know, man. Nueraji is so wild card, though. Like, I'm watching film, and I'm like, yes, he's so fun to watch, and he's crazy aggressive, and he's got sick knockouts. He got a knockout on Road to UFC, too. But it's against what opposition? A 1-1 fighter? An 8-3 fighter? 13-7? And 13-4 is a nice win. That was 2 years ago. I don't know with Nueraji, It's like a weird debut for me. It's a guy that he didn't prove himself through Contender. He didn't get the contract straight off rip with the win on Road to UFC. They made him work for it a bit. He's 11-1 as a pro. He's 24. He's got good height and reach for this damn welterweight division. I think he's really explosive, and I feel like Crosby's got a lot of vulnerabilities. Maybe Nueraji's the first guy to flatline Crosbie. He got stopped in the corner against, I believe, Charlie Leary some fights back. Yeah. Come on, bro. Come on. 4-3 in Bellator. 0-2 in the UFC. I think Kiefer Crosby's going to get finished. I think Nueraji comes out hard. I think he breaks him. I think he might submit him. But then Kiefer Crosbie just lands a flukish overhand and flatlines him. Some wild shit. I don't think so. I think Nueraji's ready to work in this matchup here. He is a crazy fast starter, which is worrisome. Because, we don't know what happens. We don't know what happens with Nueraji. He's been outside of the first round. How many times? 1, 2, 3 times as a pro. Outside of the first round. He's 2-1. He got stopped in the 3rd round against, you remember Meng Ding? He was on Contender Series last season. He stopped him with a body kick. So I don't know how good Nueraji really is, but like the tape is gonna have you thinking that he is a fucking striking phenom because he looks like one. Really fast starter, dangerous style, finds holes. Kiefer Crosbie, good slugger. Could be a bit of a brawl. I'm gonna favor Nueraji to get the win. Could be the first guy to knock Crosbie out, but like I wouldn't be blown away if he just decides, fuck this, I'm grappling with him, or clubs and subs him, something like that. Minus 370 for Nueraji, Crosbie plus 295. I think these guys are going to start fast. Of course, the under 1.5 at minus 165 for a fight like this. I like under 2.5 more. I think there is a finish in this fight. I lean towards the finishing side of Nueraji getting the hand raised. I'll say yes to the under 1.5, but there's much more of a preference towards this fight going under 2.5 rounds. I do think it finishes within the first two. I'm going to say Nueraji starts fast, lands some nasty elbows on the inside, catches Crosbie. I don't know, man, but Crosbie could still wing some overhands out there. I don't hate Kiefer Crosbie. I picked him against Kevin Jusset a long time ago. Looking back, what the fuck was I thinking? But, he was hyped up in Bellator. He's a boxer, bro. He's a boxer in MMA. That's exactly what he is. And he's a fun slugger, but he's fighting a guy that has a lot of upside. I'm going to favor a guy that's 11-1 over him at 10-5. And I'm going to say that the dangerous stand-up favors Nueraji. I think he does more damage, and he ends up getting a stoppage here. Potentially a submission, though. Even though he's not known for the sub, he got a win by sub. That's promising. Next fight on the card, we got Sumudaerji versus Kevin Borjas. I'm picking the side of Kevin Borjas in this one. I like Borjas' stand-up a lot. I know, though, Sumudaerji, very long, good range, good kickboxing from the outside. Sumudaerji's not terrible, all right? He's got a pretty clean kickboxing ability, but in the closer range, doesn't blow me away. And when I compare these guys side by side with tape, I'm like, okay, Borjas faster. Borjas better boxing. Borjas faster with his kicks to the legs. Borjas better in the pocket. Borjas flows his strikes together better. Sumudaerji, he's coming off the split decision with Mitch Raposo, but I get it. Raposo wrestling style. It's not like Borjas is going to be wrestling him up, but he was finding shots on Ronaldo Rodriguez. And his losses are Alessandro Costa, who's quite good, and Joshua Van, who's fucking sensational. The downside for Borjas in this one, he's giving up height. 5'5" to 5'8", 68-inch reach to 72. And to be fair, Sumudaerji got a fast southpaw straight left, and he's got good speed on his straight shots. Kevin Borjas has more explosiveness. Kevin Borjas has more weapons. I think Kevin Borjas has more power than him. But giving up some reach, he's going to have to close that gap, and that makes his thing interesting. I feel like Borjas' game is good, man. He's been the underdog before. I picked him against Victor Diaz here, and he came through for me on the Contender Series 2 years ago. I think he gets his second UFC win against Sumudaerji. I feel like it's not an easy matchup, but I think he can sting Mudaerji with some big shots. I think he can win some key striking exchanges. And you know what? If there was a takedown in this fight, it would not surprise me if Borjas ended up in top position, because Sumudaerji's game really not built upon the wrestling. I would say very sus on the mat. Stand-up is where he thrives most. And he's a pretty good kickboxer. I'll give credit. And Borjas is a pretty good kickboxer too. So cool matchup of striking styles. We got the long and rangy versus the Peruvian kickboxing that's more tight but very sound. And I feel like technically very efficient and precise offensively with the striking flow. You know? Somebody like Aaron Pico is straight offense, no defense. Borjas got some good reads of slips, and he's got good counters. I feel like Kevin Borjas is a more sophisticated striker and a power hitter more so than the side of Sumudaerji. I'm a favorite Borjas to win in a close one. I feel like the odds are 50-50 here, but they are minus 158 actually. Oh, Sumudaerji as the favorite at minus 158, Borjas plus 138. I don't feel like I can really forgive Sumudaerji for the comeback loss against Matt Schnell. Tim Elliott subbed him. Decision against Charles Johnson is, quite fair. And he's still young at 29, but Borjas is good too. It's just Borjas definitely going to be, at a disadvantageous spot if they go to decision. I could see them giving a close one to Sumudaerji in China for sure. I feel like Borjas gets it on the cards, but competitive back and forths for sure. I like the battle of strikers. I like the over 2.5 at minus 260. I think that hits. I'm going to say 2 rounds to 1 in favor of Borjas. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the line is going to look like for the spread, but within the 3.5 point margin for the side of Borjas, win or lose, you're fucking set, man. Because I think he at least wins a round. I don't think Sumudaerji is catching him with a knockout shot. And I think if there is a knockout, I think it would be Borjas landing a big power strike. But I think more likely than not, this is a pretty high-level kickboxing match where Mudaerji is attempting to maintain distance. Borjas does a decent job closing the gap and finding fast shots. But he's going to have to overcome the reach disadvantage, and that disparity does worry me a bit. Not like the most confident underdog call ever. It's really just a straight pick, and he happens to be the dog. I like Borjas' explosiveness more. I like Borjas' power more. I like Borjas' leg kicks more. And if he can wear down Sumudaerji, pick him apart, and then find his openings, I think he's live to get his second UFC win. But definitely, tough fight against the Tibetan Eagle here with the height and reach advantage. But I'm going with the Borjas side, and I think he'll win a hard-fought decision. Not an easy out, a dog fight for sure, but I'm going with Peru in this one. Next fight on the card, we got the featured fight of the night. We got Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I'm coming back home, guys. Back home to the Waldo Cortes-Acosta side. I was an OG Where's Waldo supporter, and I lost my foresight a bit. I really doubted the grappling game. I doubted the evolution, and that cost me. I believe in Where Waldo's overall MMA game in 2025. He's gotten way better. The debut against Jared Vandera versus now, the level jump is crazy. On the opposite side, I don't ever watch Pavlovich and say, whoa, that's a new wrinkle to his game. Whoa, Pavlovich is sharpening this up. Pavlovich does what he does. He's a bruiser. He's a pressure fighter. He's a power hitter. He's a plodding knockout puncher. Whereas Waldo's a former pro boxer, though. Yeah, he was a journeyman pro boxer, but he's got good hands. He's got good hand speed. I feel like Whereas Waldo can end up winning this one. Waldo's got a good chin, eats a big shot. I think that he's going to have faster hands than Sergey Pavlovich in this fight. I think that he's going to have quicker movements than Sergey Pavlovich in this fight. I think he's got heavier leg kicks than Sergey Pavlovich. And if the chin holds up in what I anticipate it could, I feel like an evolved Where's Waldo can get the biggest win of his life. It seems like he's surging up the ranks right now. Big win streak that he's put together. And beating Sergey Spivak last time, who was dead set on trying to take his ass down, and him fending those attempts off and then having striking moments, I thought it was impressive. I think against a Pavlovich who doesn't bring near that same level of grappling threat, I think Waldo can open up more in this fight. I think Waldo's hands are going to look faster in this fight. I feel like Sergey Pavlovich is going to be plodding forward, looking to throw bombs. But this is not a Tai Tuivasa. This is not a Curtis Blades who's just got the wrestling. Waldo's sophisticated on the feet, man. And I think Waldo has a higher fight IQ than we give him credit for. He knows how to fucking win these fights. Proper jab, good rips to the body, patient from the outside, very fast and athletic. You can see the baseball background with the way that he wings some overhand shots. Pavlovich definitely, I would say, more of a knockout puncher than Waldo, but does Pavlovich connect so clean on Waldo that he flattens him? And if he does, what happens when Waldo eats it and then is firing back? I feel like Where's Waldo with the speed advantage could be the ultimate difference maker between the two. I feel like this is one of those, like, I'm just expecting a surprise type of matchups. Last time, Pavlovich won a kind of uninspired but dominant decision against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Listen, Rozenstruik wasn't improving at all. Rozenstruik flatlined his level. We saw his peak. Waldo got into this game later, right? Doing pro boxing for a while, trying that, and then working his way to the UFC, developing sound takedown defense. Then he forgot to check kicks, forgot how to throw a leg kick. Now, Waldo's ripping at the legs nicely, working nasty shots to the body. Definitely for a heavyweight, rips the body a lot more. I feel like Whereas Waldo can find some success here with Pavlovich. Pavlovich, he looked pretty mediocre against Alexander Volkov, caught chasing from the outside and then just got tuned up in the kickboxing. And I picked Volkov as an underdog to win that fight there. I really feel like Whereas Waldo can take home a decision win. I feel like this fight's poised to go the distance. Waldo also deceptively good grappling skills. Takedown defense is very strong. Could even surprise with the offense. Pavlovich's skills really haven't gotten better to me. I've not seen any growth. Pavlovich does what he does. Plotting pressure fighter that hits really fucking hard. Has some grappling, sure. Waldo on the other side, showing levels to his game. Stiffer jab than I've ever seen. Works the body more. Leg kicks are on point. Good lateral movement. One of the quicker heavyweights, too. Has power in his hands, but a good round winner. I'm going to say Where's Waldo is going to steal this decision against Sergey Pavlovich. I think the underdog's coming through in this one. I feel like Where's Waldo is deceptive, man. Slept on constantly, but this could be one of those weird kryptonite matches for Pavlovich. I know, oh, he landed a big shot against Aspinall. Sure, he caught him with a big looper. But then Aspinall flatlined him. And then the next fight, he got completely tuned up by Volkov, and he beat a Jairzinho Rosenstruik, who, like I said, flattened out. I'm going with Where's Waldo to win. I think Waldo's jab is a difference maker. Yes, there's reach with Pavlovich, but he don't really use his reach that well. He's not a, stiff jab and slick from the outside type of boxer. He's a blitzing power hitter. I could see Waldo forced to back up, but I could see Pavlovich frustrated with the leg kicks, frustrated with the body work, and getting stung by jab. If Waldo survives the first round, Pavlovich will slow down. And I think Waldo's going to take this decision home. I'm going with Where's Waldo. I really feel like he's kind of poised to shock everybody in Shanghai. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to say the Dominican flies to fucking China and handles the Russian knockout hitter. Plus 201 for Where's Waldo. I just feel something with the Waldo side. Where's Waldo? We fucking found him again. Minus 236 for Pavlovich as a big favorite. I think this fight's going over. Over 1.5 rounds at minus 175. I say yes. Waldo's got a good chin. He's defensively sound. He's very defensively responsible too. And that's the pro boxing experience. Yeah, man. I think Where's Waldo's going to do well. Slicker in the striking. Not as much punch for punch power, but they're not just sitting in front of each other and just exchanging wild shots. I'm going with Where's Waldo by decision. I think a technical decision win, surviving the early storm by Pavlovich, who comes out throwing hard. Waldo will frustrate Pavlovich with stiff jabs to the head, stiff shots to the body, leg kicks, and a lot of quality movement. And I think Where's Waldo is going to outpoint the Russian. I'm going with the salsa boy, the footwork to carry weight in this fight, because I think it comes down to the footwork. And I'm going to say Where's Waldo takes the upset win home against Sergey Pavlovich and becomes, realistically, I mean, the dark horse of the heavyweight division and maybe the top contender if he goes out and beats Pavlovich. Obviously, there's, Volkov, Almeida fighting, potentially a number one contender fight there. But the salsa boy to come out of nowhere, beat Spivak, and then beat the likes of Sergey Pavlovich, he might be in the run into challenge for the belt in 2026. I'm picking Waldo to win it. I got decision win for Where's Waldo. And I respect him for being more than willing to step in on short notice and fight at that fucking fight night card, the Tyra versus Park card ended up being. But he was ready to go and said yes to getting in there and fighting Taliesin Teixeira on just days' notice in a main event. Waldo's ready to fight anybody, any place, anytime. I think that fight would have been easier for him. This one here, obviously bigger for his career, though, and I'm glad that this one stuck. I'm going Where's Waldo decision in the biggest win of his life. I'm going to pick him. Next fight of the night, co-main event. We got Brian T. City Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling. I'm picking the Aljo side, man. I have to. I can't go with T. City. There is always talk of T. City reinventing himself. Every fight, I've reinvented myself. There comes a time where it's like, fool me once, twice, 3 times. Like, all right, I'm getting fooled too damn much. Aljamain Sterling, we know what he can do well, and that's wrestle at an elite level. Grapple at an elite level. His offensive takedown threat is superior to Brian Ortega's wrestling threat on the offensive and defensive side. I think he bursts through that Ortega takedown defense. Submission-wise, yes, Brian Ortega has very creative and slick jiu-jitsu, but I'll be hard-pressed to believe that he can submit Aljamain Sterling, especially a strong Aljo at 145. Aljo just gave Movsar Evloev a run for his money in a competitive back-and-forth fight, grappling in pretty much the entire fight and scrambles in moments for both guys. Yeah, Movsar ended up winning it at the end. Movsar's undefeated. Movzar is another like deceptive dark horse of featherweight, but we all know that he's coming. It's just, didn't get the big signature win against Pico. Murphy did, and now Murphy's fighting for the belt. Aljamain Sterling is one of the best bantamweights of all time. Yes, he got caught by Sean O'Malley 2 years ago. Perfect straight. But when he moved up, completely bodied Calvin Kattar and made him look like he's never wrestled a day in his life. And then in the next fight, he gave Movzar Evloev a tough back and forth. On the side of Brian Ortega, he's coming off the loss against Diego Lopez, where he showed heart, for sure. He was nearly knocked out early, kept trying to slug till the end, but just simply put, was outworked by Diego Lopez on the feet and couldn't grapple with him. Fight before that, was able to come back and win against Yair Rodriguez, but Yair has always had the hole in the wrestling and the hole in the jiu-jitsu. Fight before that, the loss to Yair with the shoulder injury, and then Volkanovski back and forth, 5-round decision nearly 4 years ago, where he had the mounted ghillie on Volkanovski and the massive moment in the fight. I think that Aljamain Sterling is deemed to win this one. And striking-wise, T-City Ortega, I'd give him the advantage with boxing. But I will say, Aljamain Sterling has an awkward flow in his striking. The Funk Master, he's got funky stand-up. His kicks are really deceptively fast, and he knows how to rip weird punches up high and then time into takedowns. I think he's winning the battle of position with Brian Ortega, and I think he's going to out-grapple Brian Ortega. I favor Aljo's physicality, his cardio, and his wrestling in this fight. I don't think Ortega's jiu-jitsu from bottom is going to be enough. And though in a pure boxing fight, I could see Ortega having moments, I don't think Aljo is a complete dead man in the striking either. I'm picking the side of Aljamain Sterling by decision. I'm going Aljo, wrestling, grappling control, winning a hard-fought 3-rounder, and dominating position here against Brian Ortega. I'm favoring the Aljo side. I think he's going to have a great performance, actually. Minus 240 for Aljamain, plus 205 for Ortega. Listen, Aljo's still a top contender. Doesn't matter. Minus 300 for the over 2.5. I say yes. I don't think he's getting caught in a silly submission. I don't think Ortega's strangling him. I don't think Ortega's taking his back. I feel like Aljo is going to be the leader of who is controlling where this fight takes place, and that dictates everything. He doesn't have to just sit in the pocket and slug with Brian Ortega. He's not gonna. He'll strike with him a bit. He'll time takedowns. He'll get on top. There'll be fun grappling exchanges and scrambles, but Aljo is going to win them. The way that he fought against Movzar, say what you want, he still lost. Positive performance. The dominance he showed against Kattar, positive performance. Aljamain Sterling is still a monster when it comes to fights on the mat. And I don't think T-City is clipping him with a big shot and chinning him. I don't think T-City is setting him up with the fucking knee up the center that sends him straight back and out. I think Aljamain Sterling's going to be getting this fight to the ground, and he's going to be controlling the positional battle, and I think he's going to win the key scrambles. I'm going Aljamain Sterling, hard-fought decision win in the co-main event. He beats Brian T-City Ortega. Now it's time. Main event of the evening. If you guys are watching and enjoying, make sure you guys smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up. We got Johnny Walker versus Mingyang Zhang. I'm picking the side of Zhang to take it home. I have to. I cannot pick Johnny Walker coming off 2 back-to-back violent knockout losses. His chin is rather a clear red flag, clear as day red flag. Mingyang Zhang is surging right now. His stand-up is nasty. Knockout streak in the UFC. He's a power puncher who has pretty efficient stand-up game and more than just wild punches. I mean, look at the lead elbow. Look at the rear elbow. Big punch combinations on the inside. Pressure-based style, but keeps a quality set. And I'd say relatively sound in the defensive manner of striking. His knockouts are impressive, though. I mean, even this win against Brenson Barrel puts him away quick. Knocks out Ozzy Diaz, beat the shit out of Anthony Smith. The win over Tokos, blitzed him and destroyed him early. Zhang's an explosive power hitter, and I feel like this is just a familiar fight for Johnny Walker. Fighting somebody who's better at striking and boxing than him with real power. We've seen it time and time again. How many times does Walker need to be knocked out to now say, okay, this type of matchup just doesn't suit him well? Looking at the KOs, Volkan Ozdemir violently chinned him a year ago, okay? Magomed Ankalaev violently chinned him a year and a half ago. He had the no contest with Ankalaev there. And then win against Anthony Smith, but a decision. Knocked out Paul Craig, but listen, Paul Craig can get the fight to the ground, gets stung by a big shot, and it's wraps. Walker still has the chaos factor. He's a wild kickboxer. He's got power. He's got big jumping knees up the center, nasty elbows on the inside, wild hook barrages. But the truth is, like Mingyang Zhang's stand-up is so much more polished and he's so much more effective with his punching and close-range shots that I just don't think Johnny Walker is going to hit him with a flying knee or a spinning elbow or something crazy or like, in the Muay Thai clinch and then the elbows like he did Roundtree years ago. Walker's puzzle has been figured out. It's chaos. And if you can deal with that chaos and stay sound and then counter it, Johnny Walker's fucked. Mingyang Zhang is a sound kickboxer with a good amount of pro experience and a nasty knockout streak in the UFC. Real power in his hands and legit boxing chops / just kickboxing game in Muay Thai. It's not like he's just a boxer, but his punching power is legit, man. He's smooth on the feet. He throws effortless combinations, and he finds his shots very accurate throughout the fight with nice precision throughout the fight with nasty elbow chants too and close. I don't think Johnny Walker can deal with him in boxing range. The problem with Johnny Walker is you say, oh, well, okay, but he's got an 82-inch reach to a 75-inch reach. So Walker should strike from distance. Walker is not very good at maintaining distance. His style is to get into the fire and throw dangerous shots, whether it's big punches, crazy knees, whatnot. But we see it time and time again, man. He gets in the pocket and he gets hit and he goes down and out. Johnny Walker's chinny, man. And he's fighting the surging power puncher on the rise in which this card was built for in Shanghai because he's China's prospect right now for the light heavyweight division. He's the contender on the rise. The knockout king himself. I think Mingyang Zhang, Mountain Tiger, violent KO win. And it's probably in the first round, could be in the first two, but I just think Walker walks into a big fucking shot and goes to bed. Two clean hands, two clean elbows, too precise striking, and too defensively irresponsible. Johnny Walker is not defensively efficient. Way too hittable. Knocked out too many times. Look at the record. 6 KO losses as a pro. The chin goes. 6 of the 9. Not going to be a decision for Mingyang Zhang wrestling. No. It's going to be them in a firefight. It's going to be Zhang closing the gap on Walker and connecting with bombs. And it's going to be Mingyang Zhang knocking Johnny Walker senseless in this fight. I'm going with the Zhang side. Yes, he's a minus 370 favorite. He should be minus 370 favorite. Plus 295 on the other side with Johnny Walker. Let's see what the under is. Under a round and a half, minus 290, probably. Under 2.5 is more so feels like a guarantee. But I think under 1.5 is live. The way that Walker and Zhang fight, I think it gets started fast. I think Walker is uncomfortable on the feet, getting stung, forced backwards, trying to engage, and then just gets caught with something. Throws a big shot, gets out of position, gets countered, and gets knocked the fuck out. I think Johnny Walker is going to bed again. It's a simple, proven method. When Johnny Walker fights precise power punchers, you pick the precise power puncher. We saw it in his past two. We've seen it in other fights throughout his entire career. And Mingyang Zhang is primed at 27 years of age and surging up the ranks right now, undefeated in the UFC, riding a 12-fight win streak, man. 27 years old for a light heavyweight is infancy. He's really now just hitting his stride. Violent win incoming. I think Johnny Walker's in trouble, man. I really do. He was supposed to fight Azamat Murzakev, but he withdrew, and that was in June. He pulled out of that fight. And then he's supposed to fight Bogdan Gushkov, got injured, 311. That was January. So he's been dealing with injury woes as well. It's not like Johnny Walker is a clean bill of health either. Every factor is against him. His chin and now his body failing him too. And, his ability to explode and throw chaos is what made him so good in his prime. But yeah, this is just red flags all over it for Johnny Walker. I think he's getting knocked out in the first round. Mingyang Zhang with the breakout performance changes his career overnight. Or I guess technically it would be in the morning, at least for me. And he becomes a legit light heavyweight contender to watch. And China's got something special with him. He goes out and performs in which I think he's capable of. He's a problem in this light heavyweight division. Zhang versus a Bogdan Gushkov would go crazy. Zhang surging up the ranks. Knockout puncher, fun style to watch, engages in the warfare, and he's got those deceptively dangerous elbows. Johnny Walker's getting knocked out. It's either a punch or an elbow. I think it's between the two. Walker's chin will not hold up against the Mountain Tiger. So I'm going Mingyang Zhang by knockout. I'm going to say first round knockout. And I think that he's handling business here against Johnny Walker at UFC Shanghai. Those are my full card predictions for this damn early in the morning card for us stateside. But honestly, I think it's going to be a pretty good one, especially the main card. Obviously, some prelims that I feel are apex level, but altogether, I think it's going to end up being a fun card with some violent finishes and some surprising underdog upsets as well. Let me know what you thought of the picks in the comments down below. I want to hear from you guys. If you don't have anything to say, just enjoy the content, drop a W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, turn the post notifications on. You don't want to miss a video or live stream. I got content all week long, so keep it locked in with your boy. Fight Companion Saturday at 3 a.m. Contender Series breakdown Monday, which is tomorrow at this time of the recording. And then a Contender Series Fight Companion Tuesday. So tons of content on the channel that you want to keep up with. So turn the post notifications on. If you really enjoyed it, share the video as well. I love you all. Thank you guys for the continued support. And I see you on the next one. Much love. Good night. Peace out.